Hello guys, so this is going to be the second video. We started off with loops, which was chapter 4. Now we are going to move on to chapter 5, lists within Codex for Python. We didn't do the checkpoint project because, I haven't had time and found the time to do that. But so here it says store different items in lists and learn to use built-in functions and methods. So that would be through imports. So it says, welcome to the list chapter. Thank you for sticking around. Suppose we want to build a program that stores student grades for homework and quizzes. We would need to create a bunch of variables like so. So homework underscore grade equals 98, grade 2 equals 87, grade 3 92, grade 4 96, grade 1 9, grade 2 6, grade 3 8. So it says creating a bunch of variables this way is tedious and error prone. Can you imagine what it would be like with 200 plus students? The syntax for a list looks like list underscore name equals with the brackets, and then it has each object inside. So it says create a grocery.py program with a grocery list of things that you would need from the store. Print out a grocery to make sure you got it. So it's saying that we need this. So if we do grocery equals brackets, we could just copy and paste the elements, and then if we run it, we have to make sure we print out grocery, and this would be without quotation since it's a variable. So if we submit it, oh no, okay, so it says print out grocery to make sure. Get it with the grocery list of things that you need from the store. Here, let's try to go on this. Okay, so everything appears correct, so I'm unsure as to why it's not printing. Well, that could be just it's missing commas, so we just add commas in between them so that there's a separator. Now if we run it, it should print out. So if we submit it, okay, it works, but it's not printing out, which is something that doesn't make sense to me, but we got it. So now we can go to the next one. List items are changeable, meaning we can update individual items within a list. But before we do that, how can we access an individual item within a list? Well, this is where index comes in. An index is an item's position in a list. So instead of starting with 1 and counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you can think of it as n. N meaning the number of objects within a list, and minus 1 meaning the index position. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Technically, there's 5 total elements, but it's n minus 1. Okay, I printed out later on, but okay. The item at index 0 is A, 1, E, 2, I, 3, O, etc. So the output, to output each of the items, you can use the name index syntax. So is there a way to get more than just one individual item? So yeah, this is called slicing. So this specifies where you want to, what portion of a list of elements you want to extract and print. So vowels 0 to 3, you have A, E, I, and O, or A, E, I. So 0, 1, 2, where the third position is not accounted for. That is minus 1 position. Then you start at E, and then you go to 0, 1, 2. You go E to I, and that prints E to I. There's a common error in Python when dealing with sequences called the index error. So this happens whenever you specify a element that is outside of the index range of a list. So it says create a to-do.py program that will define a to-do list that contains the following items. So if you do to do underscore list equals, we can grab the items and copy and paste them into brackets, which equals, brackets are the like, I guess, like the containers use, the container symbols use specify to lists, whereas like tuples or like a dictionary, well, tuples would be curly brackets, for example. So, and I'm pretty sure it would be the same for dictionary, except they're formatted differently. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. So print the first item and the second item. What did you get? Next, use slicing to print the third, fourth, and fifth. So if we do print the first and second item, print, and then we do to do underscore list, says print wait, what is it? Oof, I just got lost. Print the first item, the first item and the second item. So we have the first item, which is 0, and the second item, so that would be 0 to 3. And then we could try again. Underscore list 0 to 3. And then yeah, okay. So now it wants us to next use slicing to print the third, fourth, and fifth items. So the third, fourth, and fifth items would be 0, or would be starting at 3 and ending, so 0, so 1, 2, 3, third, fourth, and fifth. Right? Yeah, third, fourth, and fifth. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4. That would be 0, 3 to 7. And then now if we run it, it should work. Third, fourth, fifth. Up third, fourth, and fifth. Up -1. Sorry, mistake there. Run. Now it should work. Oh wait. Get a haircut. So 0, 1. Oh. Index by 2, 5. Okay, 2 to 5 is. This should work. If it doesn't, then okay. Yeah, third, fourth, and fifth. Interesting why that's not working. Third, fourth, and fifth, and first and second item. Oh, okay. So it's not working because of that. Now if we run it, first and second. Okay, yeah, first and second, third, fourth, and fifth. So 0 to 2, -1, 5, -4. Okay, there we go. We got it. Now we can move on to the next problem. It's kind of just mapping out analysis. So if you have 2 to 5, that's basically just saying 2 to 4 elements from index 2 all the way to 4, whereas this is index 2 and this is 2, 3, 4. And this prints out. Take a walk, get a haircut, make some tea. Yes, that's kind of how that's exactly how that works. So next it says Python comes with some built-in functions, including one specifically for lists. Okay, yeah, so these are built-in functions for lists. So each item in the list is the quantity of a colored part for a Lego toy. Can you figure out the following information using built-in functions? Which Lego part are the elves running low on? So use min to find that out. So if we have print min, and then we have Lego underscore parts, we have that finds the min. So the Lego parts that are like, it basically finds the lowest value, and then print, is there a Lego part that elves are overstocking? So max. So it finds the minimum value, and then Lego underscore parts finds the max. So if you run it, okay, we might need to. Okay, yeah, let's insert the list. And now, if we print it, it should work. Okay, so 589 would be the least, the smallest value, and then max value would be 92,232. So if we submit, we got it. Good job. Now we go to the next one. It says besides built-in functions, Python has a bunch of built-in list methods that are very handy. Here are some of them. So we have .append, .insert, .remove, .pop. Let's use DNA sequences as an example for this. So these are a bunch of list methods. So ways to manipulate the values contained within inside of a list, which, you know, that can look different depending upon the values, or even that type of values that are contained within inside list. So suppose you want to add pachinko to the, can you use the list method to do so? Let's say we finished reading. Can you use the .remove method to remove one, and the pop method to so let's say we finish reading the creating a that shows the following items. So if we create a variable books, and then we have the associated values, we can insert that with inside of a list, the list, and then it says suppose we want to add to the list, can you use the list method to do so? Yeah, so for that we could append adds an item at the end of a list, so we could do .append and then add, it says pachinko, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, that would be that. So now, and then it says, let's say we finish reading the fault, and can you use the .remove? So if we do books .remove the fault in our stars and 1984. So we could do .remove, and then we can print books after everything has been assorted. It says this .remove takes exactly, so it only takes, okay, so it takes exactly one argument. I wonder if you can use the and. That probably not, but we can try. Okay, you can, yeah. So you can use the and boolean value to add more than one element within inside of a list using a method, but you cannot do that if you only have a comma. So that works. So now if we submit, this could, so for this solution it could be because I use and, which means that it still works. Here, let's take this code. So if we do enter, yeah, books.append, books.remove, have that. So if we backspace, so it's saying, say we finish in 1984, can use to one and pop method to remove the other. Oh, so this, here, let's look at how pop remove an item from a specified position in the list. So okay, yeah, so we're using the pop method for this. So we're saying books.pop1, meaning that we're not popping out the value of Harry Potter, but the value of 1984, because we have 0 and then 1. So if we delete and then delete this and run it again, you can add white space between the top and the bottom. Now we submit, it works. There we go. Now if you go on to the next one, it's saying to, iterate over a list. Now you might be wondering, is there a way to iterate over a list? Yep, there are multiple ways to iterate over a list in Python. In this exercise, we are going to show you different ways to do so. So the first way is using a for in loop. Here's an example. So yeah, so a for loop where the I is a variable which represents an item contained within inside of a list. As a reminder, range functions returns a sequence of numbers from 0 to a number. Length function returns the length of the list. So let's see what it's asking. Back in the good old days, a mixtape is a compilation of music, a playlist recorded onto a cassette tape or a CD. Create a mixtape.py program and think of a theme for the songs. So you can copy and paste this. Make a list cut and throw in some songs. Now loop over everything. So the idea is that we have a list with its songs inside of the list and we iterate over. So we literally could say for a song in playlist, which could be any value. Song could be any value. And then we put in I forgot the symbol name for that. But if we do for song in playlist print song, it iterates through the entire playlist, and if we run it, it should print out every song. Yep, now if you submit, it works. There we go. Now if you go on to the next one, it says you just added a super helpful tool to your coding toolbox list. Here's a recap of the chapter. Lists are used to store different items in a single variable. So lists are used to store different items in a single variable. Yep, and index is an item's position in a list. So this is just a recap of everything we learned. We have slicing can access certain parts of a list. And then we have Python has built-in functions. And then we have lists have built-in functions. We can iterate over a list using for. Now let's pull everything together one last time and build your bucket list. So we're going to make a bucket list and saying, so things to do, we can do Control C. These are all of the things that to do. Now iterate over the list and print everything out. So we can do for bucket underscore task and things underscore to underscore do. You can say print bucket underscore task, and then now if we run it, it just prints everything out. Okay, that was fairly straightforward. That's what we already did. And now we can hit next. Alright guys, we finished chapter 5 of Codex, which was a list specifically for Python. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And once again, if you can, I would appreciate if you either left a like, commented, or, in all possibility, subscribed. You don't have to, but it lets me know, that you're listening. So, and it pushes me to make more. But thank you guys so much. We finish chapter 5, so we move on to chapter 6. When I have time, which will be within the next few days. But thank you all so much. Have a good day, a good night, or a good evening, and make sure to drink water, and make sure that you're taking care of yourself, because especially when you program, it's kind of hard because you get so in depth with the learning everything, and it can be kind of difficult. But I'm going to hope that all of you do well, and may God see just programming, and I'll see you in the next. Goodbye.